Hey, what's up, everybody? I know I'm always coming in late with these videos, so I figured I would do a college basketball five pick video, and also has the top picks for tomorrow based on what it ran this morning. Just on a quick analysis and then expected lines, these were some of the better ones. I know I always say I don't like to go on the smaller conferences, but these did actually look pretty good. Look like some good mismatches for tomorrow's games. Okay, so these were the top 10 spreads based on size for tomorrow's games that the model put out. So it's got Michigan, Central Connecticut. It is all the home teams. So the ones on the right, UC Irvine, Utah Valley, Samford. And then if you look on the right side there, you'll see the predicted spread. These could change by tomorrow. I will run it again in the morning, and that'll be included in the video I typically do. But these are what they're sitting at right now from the. So the first pick is going to be UC Irvine. The lines actually are out for this one, and the spread is half a point under for UC Irvine. It does actually have it at 15.5 right now, so it's on the Cal State Bakersfield field by half a point. But I do like UC Irvine here. I do like them for the first half, which is also right there at the 8.5. But UC Irvine's 8-2 in the league. Their Bakersfield's 2-9 and is on a 6-game losing streak. UC Irvine did win the first matchup by 4 points, and they're good at rebounding. They have a good defense. Bakersfield allows a lot of points, and their rebounding is suspect. So I do expect them to cover this spread. If you want to wait until you're able to adjust it, you might buy it down a few points or just see how the market goes, see if it ends up moving on its own. You may be able to get better odds. You may end up getting a little worse odds if that ends up going up to 16 or 17 or something like that. But right around that 15 point does seem pretty good on the spread for this game. Okay, so this next game is kind of a revenge game. It is Abilene Christian going to Utah Valley. The model likes Utah Valley to win by 14.5, and they also like a 8-point halftime spread. Utah Valley is the top of the WAC. They're 6-3 in the conference. They're 16-6 overall. Abilene Christian's 2-6 in the conference with a 5-game lose streak. Like I said, revenge game. Abilene Christian beat them the first time, 85-68 at home. That was on the back of a lot of turnovers. Utah Valley had 22 turnovers. Abilene Christian only had 10. They turned those turnovers into points, and that was the key to the game. Since that game, Utah Valley is 4-2. They're 4-0 at home, and both of the teams that they lost to on the road, they beat at home. They beat Southern Utah by 17 points at home, and they beat California Baptist by 7 points at home. Both those teams beat them by a few points on the road, but it wasn't blowouts or anything. I feel like Utah Valley will get their revenge here. Like I said, I don't know what the line is yet. If it's around that 15-point mark, that's what the model likes. If it's under that, it definitely looks better. So if you want to wait till a live game, make sure Utah Valley's not turning over the ball again. But with as bad as that last game was, I would expect them to come out ready for this game and try to pile it on early and not even worry about losing. Okay, so the next game is a little bit of a mismatch. We got Chicago State and Central Connecticut. You can take the spread. You can take the first half spread. The model likes about 15 points on this one as well, and also likes the halftime spread to be just under 8 at 7.7. So in NEC standings, Chicago State is 3-19. They're only 1-8 in the conference. Central Connecticut, they're scoring 75 points per game, 70 points per game in conference. So the model likes the first half, and the model likes almost 15 points. The biggest issue here would be if Central Connecticut doesn't get out to a fast start. It's not like the NBA where teams blow them out typically. A lot of times, if it's not a blowout early, it's not going to be a huge blowout late. Obviously, that can happen, but not typically in these smaller type conference games. So I like Central Connecticut. The model likes Central Connecticut. Chicago State is not having a good year at all. So that's the way I would go. If you want to wait for a live bet or wait till you can adjust the spreads, you can obviously make it a little safer. I didn't see any odds for this one yet either, so honestly, I don't know what it's going to come out at. I would assume it's going to be somewhere around there, though. All right, so the next one is going to be Southern Indiana going to UT Martin. UT Martin spread is the play here. The model likes them for about 11 points, likes the halftime spread by about 6 points. UT Martin is 10-2 in the league. They're 18-5 overall. They are 10-0 at home versus Southern Indiana, who's 2-10 in the conference and 5-17 overall. So UT Martin is definitely the better team here. They are at home where they tend to play better. So UT Martin is the line here. I don't know what the odds are going to be on this one. I didn't see it come out either. Obviously, if the spread comes out at around 13, 14 points, you'd be way less confident on them covering the spread. You can adjust it down. I'm sure you can find a decent line somewhere. But it seems like a pretty big mismatch on paper on this one. All right, last pick is going to be a road pick. Going to be Vermont going to Maine and winning. The model likes Maine to win, or Vermont to take the first half spread by about a point. Likes them to be about 3 at the end of the game. They did win by 5 in the first matchup, 67-62. Maine struggling. They have a pretty bad offense, scoring about 62 points per game. Vermont scoring better for the conference. That conference isn't a high-scoring conference, but they are doing better. Maine has had games of 52 points and a win and 48 points and a loss recently. Vermont has had a 77-point win, a 77-point loss, 68. So they're in the higher 60s, low to mid 70s, where Maine is typically staying high 50s to low 60s. So this is more of just Vermont should score more than Maine, in my opinion. Not a huge favorite, but it did look pretty good on paper. Still waiting to see what the odds will be on this one. If it comes out too high on Vermont, which I wouldn't expect, obviously I wouldn't take it. I would probably take Maine plus the points because I'd probably leave it off. Not a huge fan of Maine covering anything. But if it grows too much, I wouldn't really want to take Vermont either. They've shown they can win by 10 points recently, like 8 to 10 points in a few games. But they've also lost a couple close ones. So Vermont's the way I would lean. Just wait and see what the odds are and see, maybe even just take it on the money line. I would imagine that's probably going to be pretty decent on this game with them being on the road. All right, here's a few games that the model liked a different team based on the half. It liked Cal State Northridge to win the first half by about 3 points on the spread, but it did expect that spread to shrink, and it expected them to only win by about 1 point. So it still did have them on the money line, but it had Cal Poly being the better second half team. Similar on the second game, it expected Chattanooga to come out, be the hotter first half team, but it expected Mercer to win the game. So it expected them to have the better second half, come back, be the better team, and just pull away a little bit at the end. Last game it was St. Peter's in Manhattan. And it had St. Peter's was only about 1 point favorite on the spread for the first half. And then for the full game, it had it at about a 7-point spread. So it expected a bigger margin on the game. It just expected them to keep it close. So you may look at, depending on the size of the spread, either Manhattan to cover the first half spread, or just do St. Peter's on the money line in the first half, or depending on the size of the spread that comes out for the full game, if it's around that 7 point, if it's a little under, maybe 5 points would be something that would be worth looking into. So those are the games that I have today that are going to be played tomorrow for early looks. Like I said, I will have these games with the full 7-day prediction movement in my video tomorrow morning. So keep an eye out for that if you want to see that. Good luck.